Dear friends, you might have witnessed so many social media posts about Lakshadweep being on a protest and Save Lakshadweep tag, protest in the house corridor, all those slogans you might have heard. Why we are protesting against this Praful by Patel? I specifically say the present administrator. Why we are protesting against him? There are 3 or 4 reasons why entire Lakshadweep people are against this administrator's arbitrary attitude and the way he is trying to legalize his illegal actions. Number one, you know that Lakshadweep was the only one place till 2020 when entire world was shook because of the COVID first pandemic wave. At those times, Lakshadweep was the only one place green zone. How we could achieve that? That was achieved only because of the collective steps of the Lakshadweep administration and the elected representatives and the people. And we have formulated a special SOP in that a quarantine system was enforced that anybody wanted to visit Lakshadweep has to undergo 7 days quarantine in Kochi. Then they will be produced for the test RT-PCR. Those who test negative only permitted to go to Lakshadweep. Once they go to Lakshadweep, again they have to go 1 week quarantine so that the spread of virus to Lakshadweep was controlled and screened. Why we took such a decision is we know our health scenario there. We don't have that much facility hospitals there. Lakshadweeps are far flung. Each island is differently located. From one island to another island, movement is very difficult. So envisaging all those things, we took a decision collectively, and their people were also supporting to that this quarantine system really yielded Lakshadweep to keep Lakshadweep safe from first wave of corona. What immediately after Mr. Praful Patel taking the charge of Lakshadweep administration, the first thing what he did was he unilaterally decided to relax the standard operating procedure. In that, we vehemently opposed on only one condition. We also wanted to have economic development. We also supported for the economic development. All those things, entire people of Lakshadweep agreed for that. Provided we requested him to restore the quarantine system which is implemented in the previous SOP, stating the reasons which I earlier elucidated to you because of the health, immature health facilities we have. On that aspect, this is the only way to have control over the spreading of corona. So that precautionary measure is the best way. So that the quarantine system should be restored. And we requested at least those who are tested negative, 48 hours tested negative people, before they go for boarding the ship, at least till such period they should not be given an opportunity to go outside, get infected and board the ship. So that at least that 48 hours test negative people before boarding the ship may be quarantined. This was the request we entire people of Lakshadweep we requested with him. And for that we protested on the road. I was a person who was leading the protest in the front. But unilaterally he didn't accept it. He gone and done away with the quarantine. What yielded is now India's highest test positivity rate reported place is Lakshadweep now. There are more than 24 valuable life we lost. 4 islands are in completely shut down situation. The life is miserable there for the people. At top of that, he is coming with all this draft notification, can you imagine? See, he came the first time, he introduced the PASA, that is Gunda Act. What is Lakshadweep to Gunda Act? Lakshadweep is the most peaceable area certified by UNO. And the crime rate in the records of National Crime Bureau of Records, the kidnapping, the terrorist activity, the child abduction, you see, even you can see now, it is 0 there. What made this present administrator to bring in such a enactment to be enacted by the government of India, to a draft notification for Gunda Act? What prompted him here? This is the sequence you must understand. The following draft and the draft which is in queue, which is going to be come in future days. There are 12 more draft notifications and rule making which is going to be very shortly to the Lakshadweep. So what actually he was envisaging to make people fear that. This PASA Act, what the content of the draft says that a person who is being arrested on such ground cannot even ask for legal service, and the administrator is competent to keep that person under custody for 6 months without providing constitutional right for getting a legal service. That is happening in Lakshadweep. Lakshadweep is such a small place where people live very happily, harmoniously. Everybody who visited Lakshadweep, those administrators who served Lakshadweep will be astonished to see such a draft notification by this gentleman. Secondly, the Animal Preservation Act, they are coming out. What is to be preserved there? There also they are making mockery on it. See, the animals or the species to be protected and preserved in conserved Lakshadweep is the marine wealth, the marine flora and fauna, the species of the marine, which contributes to the growth of corals, which finally yields for the stability and existence of the islands. Like sea cucumbers, lot many other species. Those are things to be preserved and conserved. But under the disguise of Animal Preservation Act, what they are trying to implement, what he is trying to implement is the what I should eat, what I should not eat. He is telling about my constitutional right. That in this Animal Preservation Act is mentioning only 3 animals, that is cow, bull and buffaloes. So on this, there is a very these animals are brought from mainland, like from Calicut, from Mangalore. We are bringing it from the other part of the country. What we have to do, secure those animals to be vaccinated. Why? That is a laid down principle. The rules are there. When one animal is transported from one point to another point, that animal need to be properly vaccinated. That we are doing it. Then what are they are trying to impose on us by implementing such an Animal Preservation Act is very well clear, crystal clear that he is doing something with an ill motive. Third, he is coming out with the Panchayat regulation. The democratically elected 2 bodies, one is Member of Parliament, the other is District Panchayat. We have 2-tier Panchayat system, one is Village Panchayat, the other one is District Panchayat. These through Panchayats have never discussed, the administration have not discussed anything of this rule or regulation amendment point. That was not made an agenda point in the district Panchayat meetings where I am to a member. All the elected chairpersons of the village Panchayat to member. The present rule says that the membership to the District Panchayat for the Member of Parliament and chairperson of the village Panchayat is ceased. A person, he or she having more than 2 kids cannot contest in the Panchayat election. These all draft notifications are being brought without even a discussion with the elected representative. Is this the democracy of India? Is this the way we are envisaging? How blatantly he is criticizing or criminalizing, he is destroying the democratic fabric of India. Third, he is coming forth, he is coming out with the most dangerous thing. That is the Lakshadweep Development Authority draft. This Lakshadweep Development Authority, this development draft, authority draft is being brought at the amidst of the pandemic crisis. People are suffering, lot many lives have gone. Even medical officers are finding it difficult to provide medical facilities. At that juncture, another draft notification is coming in front. In that, people are not in a position to even communicate to each other, to consult an advocate, to get a legal opinion, because it is in 187 pages. In that, the dangerous part is that this authority have ultimate authority on the land in which an administration or the Lakshadweep government, if they wanted to have a public interest, say for example a hospital is to be constructed, a school is to be constructed, whatever development they are talking of, for that a land if they see and they choose, the landowner have no right to oppose on it, and no consent is required from the landowner. And to the extent that the compensation to be paid or not paid will also be decided by this authority. The house which we live, we have to pay a tax of 2 lakh rupees annually to this authority when this draft is being, if it is implemented. A place called Lakshadweep, which is total land area 32.2 square kilometer, and one island is just measuring 3 square kilometer. At that island, in that islands, he is envisaging a placing of roads of 15-meter broader roads. Can you imagine what is the situation? How many houses need to be demolished on that? to establish such a road? And what is this? Is this a scientific development? It is not at all a scientific way of developing Lakshadweep, because to precisely how it has gone against the interest of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court have appointed a committee, Justice Ravindran Commission, with all scientists and experts. They studied entire developmental things of Lakshadweep. They made a outer guideline, what are the things to be done, what are things cannot be done as a part of development. Which in these guidelines, what mentioned in the guidelines, this draft is it is totally against to that ambit of these guidelines, which is actually the guidelines vetted by the Supreme Court of India. It is against the Supreme Court of India's direction this draft is going. On top of that, all the contract employees are being retrenched at this pandemic situation. Where they will go? They are losing their job. They don't have any other alternative. There is no other big companies who have a private job. They depend mainly on the government jobs. That too, even centrally sponsored schemes are also being, those people who are engaged under centrally sponsored schemes, that also being retrenched by this gentleman. On this we are protesting. We don't have any enmity with the central government. I am sure that this is not with the intention or the knowledge of the central government. Because when this Praful Patel was appointed as the administrator, Daman Diu Dadra Nagar Haveli, at the same time Lakshadweep also got a political nominated administrator, Mr. Farooq Khan. He was a retired IPS officer for Jammu and Kashmir. He was the National General Secretary of BJP. But when he came, he was so people friendly. He was very conclusive, and he was very consultative with the elected representative, with member of parliament. There was a joint level of meeting, things happening. It was a combined system of development. It was very smoothly going. After him, late Mr. Dinesh Sharma came. He was the IB chief there, and he was interlocutor for Northeast. After his retirement, he was given the charge of Administrator Lakshadweep. He was the first person to stand in front to lead the war against Corona. It was all a joint type of effort that entire Lakshadweep was free from COVID for 1 year. And Mr. Dinesh Sharma was leading that force from the front. So these are all the central government have given us. Lot many development things in the last 5 years. Central government has given lot many things. All those things like even health insurance policies, public-private participation, outsourcing of specialist doctors, everything after he reaching everything, he started reinvestigating things. Those things which is sanctioned by the central government in the previous year, he wanted to reinvestigate on those things. On this attitude of the administrator, we are protesting. Entire Lakshadweep, student community, people, even all households are protesting against this particular administrator, not with the central government. We requesting the central government, this protest and this shouting, this slogans should reach the central government here, the Home Minister and the Prime Minister, that this entire Lakshadweep is not against the central government but against Mr. Praful Patel.